Please welcome Ernie Covell, Director of Incident Response and Digital Forensics at Centene. Dennis Chow, Director of Detection Engineering at UKG. Justin Lachesky, Director of Cyber Resilience at Redis. And Arie Zilberstein, VP of Cloud Detection and Response at Wiz.
Thank you so much. First of all, real privilege to be here with you guys. So thank you so much for coming, joining, being part of the kind of journey of Wiz, especially when it comes to detection response and Wiz Defend. Quick introduction, I'm Arie Zilberstein, Vice President Cloud Detection Response. Prior to that was the co-founder and CEO at Gem Security, which is one of the acquisitions Wiz had just about a year and a half ago, turning into the Wiz Defend business today. So to kick things off, just before we get into the real spice and questions, if you can please introduce yourself, your role, and then what you love most about being leaders in the detection response space.
Sure. Ernie Covell, I'm the Director of Incident Response, Digital Forensics, and the ACES team. So I've been with Centene for about 9 years now, started off as a level 2 analyst, and for whatever reason, they let me get up to this level and lead some of these teams. And what I love about the role that we do is every day, people in incident response, the same answer. It changes every day. The level of stress, the different things that you see, the uniqueness to the job. So those are the big things that I look forward to every day in what I do.
Cool. Dennis Chow. I'm a Director of Detection Engineering at UKG. And so what I love about detection engineering, and I'm also in charge of the SOC, is that we get to do a lot of specializations and building of things, even though we're not developers. So we do this every day, and it's a real challenge.
And my name is Justin Lachesky. I'm the Director of Cyber Resilience at Redis. So I have both building a secure and defensible Redis, as well as the operations side in defending that environment. The thing that I like most about being in this space and leading teams in this space, kind of to combine what Ernie and Dennis said, it's a combination of unique and evolving challenges, and also the opportunity to come up with creative solutions using technology, using smart people, and just kind of constantly finding that way to try to win the fight.
Yeah, I agree with you about that. So this session, and specifically about this talk, is really about modernizing the SOC for the cloud era. And I think this modern SOC concept can mean different things to different people. So when you think about modern SOC, what does it actually mean to you, especially when it comes to cloud threats, AI threats, and how threats are looking for in the future?
So everyone knows the analogy of the dog chasing the car, right? The dog keeps running, eventually it gets to the tire, bites it, and can take control of it. The way the SOC is going now is, I'll kind of use the Labubu from earlier. It was such a great example, such a great presentation. So take my 10-year-old daughter, she's chasing down this Labubu that she really wants. She gets to the store, and all of a sudden there's 10 Labubus out there, and she's like, which one? She needs to maybe quickly talk to her brother and wrangle something in and try to figure out how to get all of these Labubus in to her shopping cart without mom and dad knowing. That's kind of the way I look at it, right? The SOC has got to be able to move extremely fast with all of these new avenues that keep popping up and identifying the teams that own those responsibilities to come to a resolution very fast.
Mm-hmm. I want to build on that. So I want to take it to the human side of it, because you also have SOC that has traditionally been entry-level to mid-level, and now you need to specialize in cloud, AI engineering, data science, and all these big data-related concepts. So I think scaling and speed are also a concern that the SOC has. And then we also need to force them to become decision makers and SMEs. So when I think of modern SOC, I also think of them as decision makers and builders, where they previously weren't there before.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ernie and Dennis hit on a lot of the key points there. I think for us and the way we think about the modern SOC and a SOC that's effective against threats in the cloud era, one is being able to deal with the complexity and the shifting operating environment and the shifting threat landscape. Like Ernie said, there's always something new. Things are constantly changing. Threat actors are innovating and evolving faster than ever. And so as defenders and in the SOC, we have to be able to meet that pace of change. I think what we've found is being able to use technology in smart ways, like Dennis was saying, being empowered to build solutions to solve those problems, I think goes a long way. And so we're looking to build a SOC that embraces technology, uses it to solve those problems, and again, kind of shift that advantage back, and ultimately giving us the speed and agility to outpace threats.
Yeah, so you all spoke about speed, how we can accelerate in the SOC and all. And I think that probably a word that comes to mind is also AI. And I think that at this point, AI moved beyond the just hype to seeing real use cases. And we've seen some of the announcement in the morning. And we had some announcement and some work in this space as well. So do you already see in the work in the day-to-day in how it is being engineered, in how it is being operated, the AI going beyond the hype and being actually solving use cases for you? And a bonus question to the ones who tried and attempted using our SecOps agent that we just announced in the morning, what's been the experience so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in here. We've been using the SecOps agent for a little bit now. We're involved in some of the early access and preview. And I think what we found there kind of mirrors what we've seen in terms of agentic AI in the SOC so far, in that it delivers a lot of potential in terms of getting us to that speed, right? It cuts out a lot of the time that it might take to orient yourself to an alert, to understand the context, to start to look in the environment and figure out where is this thing coming from, what resources are involved, how close is this to normal or not. It really, for us, has compressed the timeline to do that. So instead of spending hours getting to that point, it's a few minutes of reviewing the output from that agent and then picking up your investigation from there. So that's definitely been, I think, really impactful. It's also started to highlight some of the shifting responsibility or mindset, where we also have to be careful that we're not just blindly trusting what we're seeing from AI, right? Just like when you're talking to ChatGPT and it gives you the disclaimer at the bottom, right? Like, make sure you verify the results. We're starting to train ourselves in the same way. Like, yes, this can get us to a point of understanding much faster, but we have to make sure that it's getting us to the right understanding. And so it's kind of introducing a little bit different thought process too, but ultimately making us faster.
Yeah, so we actually didn't use SecOps yet, so
Yeah.
we'll try it out. We actually built our own. So we did our own single agent at first, and then we went to multi-clustered agents and agentic systems. And what we found was that the scalability issues of maintaining that it's really difficult. So as to your point, product selection and long-term partnership is kind of where it's really at. We also found them to be accelerators too, so we're saving about 8.3 hours for every 1 day just for the triage portion, and not including investigation. So for us, AI agentic items are real, but to your point also, having that acceleration pieces in there. One of the things that we found very distinctive, and maybe that could be a part of our partnership, is the evaluation side of it. So one of the secret sauces of anyone doing agentic over here is that you really have to understand that you can build one agent, but when you get to multiple agents and all of them talking together, you have memory issues and buffer overflow contexts of these windows. You also have issues where you have hallucinations. That's kind of where you need to have those evaluations come in. So no matter what you choose, including your products, make sure you do evaluations in terms of perception, perplexity, hallucinations, and get all those things that are outliers up head and front. Make sure you have all those things logged, just like everything else, and then you're getting those and you're pushing those correctly down as detection, behavior outliers closest to the agent, and then bringing it back to your SIEM. I've seen a lot of companies do like perhaps the SIEM thing where they collect every single thing with multiple SREs involved, and it doesn't seem to work out very well. So that's kind of been our experience, and it's been a really good item to accelerate us so far, and we expect to see this by 2x, 3x fold, similar to what your product is also accomplishing.
Yes. No. So we are trying to enable our SOC analysts and everyone to use AI. Everyone knows that alert fatigue is a huge problem that SOC analysts deal with. So we want them to be able to use the tools that will help them triage things faster. As everyone up here has mentioned, hallucinations in AI is a concern, but it also removes some of that bias that the analysts have as well. oh, this is traditionally accepted behavior from an analyst or from an engineer. We want to remove that. We want them to see something from a clear vantage point. So letting them put the results from an investigation or from an alert into an AI agent helps them get something back quickly so that we can move faster, resolve it, move on to the next thing, or escalate it up to whatever team needs it.
Cool. So hopefully you also get to enjoy the SecOps agent as it becomes more kind of available. Now, with that, let's go more specific on your defend journey. All of you, we've been fortunate to collaborate together personally and also with the teams, product teams on the defend since the early days. Can you share specifics about your journey with defend, some of the milestones and kind of achievements that you've been able to make using the product and adopting that in your security organization?
So yeah, our experience with defend has been really about acceleration, just like you mentioned earlier. There's also a lot of context and enrichment that goes in there. So I mentioned with our AI, just with the enrichment pieces or SOAR++, you're saving 8.3 hours. Just imagine that times 2, times 3 as you're looking at historical backgrounds. And so with that historical items with your graph database, we've actually extended it upon what you already have using their API and your SDK with our own and augmenting of that. So with Defend, using it as a correlation engine as a precursor, and then we're combining everything else with our agentic system together to really accelerate the analysts right now. And we're not in production yet, so we have a couple more sprints. But so with Defend, it's really just about that stitching and that single unified pane of glass. And then what really benefits us in detection engineering is the API involved. So you have an MCP server that we exercise and use. And so we're really making great use out of that. And so that's how we're able to get the maximum amount out of Defend, including your rules and the actual use cases that come into that play.
Yeah, I mean, our journey with Defend, in terms of milestones, right? From the time we decided to POC Defend to when we had Defend running across 100% of our cloud footprint was however long it took to check the box to say, enable Defend. I think that was really one of the powerful things for us and really kind of in line with a lot of our experience with Wiz is, it gives us consistent coverage across the entire estate, right? So we're in all of the major clouds. We have a large cloud footprint, a lot of resources, a lot of complexity, but we didn't need to necessarily worry about a lot of that when it came to Defend, right? It was able to be everywhere that Wiz was, which in our environment is everywhere. And so that was a huge milestone, just being able to say hey, on day one, we had that coverage in place. We've also deployed the Wiz Defend agent across all of our production and non-production GKE clusters. And that was, it took longer than just checking a box, but not a whole lot, right? It was, a Helm chart and we're off to the races. So I think that overall, we were able to get capability very quickly, which again, we talk about the speed of the SOC and the speed of analysts and the speed of response, but I think the speed of establishing capability and the ability to scale that capability across the organization is really big as well. And our journey with Defend has definitely shown an ability to do that.
Within the first week, I want to say, when we turned Wiz Defend on, we had our first actionable incident that we had to run through. And to see the amount of information that we got back in Wiz Defend to help us understand what was going on, what teams to bring in and get that to a resolution was great. Later on, I'll give you a few examples. Wiz Defend also allows you to build custom detections. That was a huge help in a red team activity that we had. Our red team didn't know that we had a code finger detection that a detection engineering team had built. It allowed us to catch the red team before they even had a chance. So having our detection engineering team get in there and create some of those detections ahead of time based off of some of the threat intelligence that Wiz is providing, it's helping us immensely. It's not just the Wiz Defend platform that's proving out, it's everything else around it. Another thing to kind of back onto that is during another engagement we had, we found some stuff and we went to Wiz, and you guys have been great partners in building up the detections to help get the coverage we need to not have some of those incidents in the future.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that. So with your journey kind of pretty much far along the way of cloud detection response, and some people here in the audience actually have not quite started with the journey. So what would be one piece of advice that you can give some people that are in different stages of adopting, changing, kind of reconsidering cloud detection response program, where to start, how to think about that?
Be flexible. We have a great engineering team on the back end. And one of our engineers, Jen, is here. I'd like to give her a hard time always, especially our cloud SOC guys. We always want more permissions. Give us more, give us more. I'm glad she kind of puts the foot down sometimes, but we have to be flexible and understand where other teams are and why the change management program is in there, and making sure that we have the right things in the right place to make sure Wiz is working right, we're getting the right logs, we're actually we can see everything and action it.
Yeah, so for us, it's strategic, getting the top-down support to get the bottom-up support from that perspective. So when we look at Wiz Defend and remediation and all the things that come with those automatic items that we saw earlier as well, you really have to get those things set up, and you really have to kind of showcase and sell what can be an accelerator for teams beyond even security. So there's SREs, there's developers, and so you can have different scopes of remediation. So start small with the staging or non-production. Let them get a taste of how they can actually stop something that is a rogue ransomware, for instance, or some sort of bit miner. And go ahead and start that there, win those stories, protest those, and show those to your C-levels, and then come back and do this enterprise-wide. I think you also get a lot of that resiliency and response there.
Yeah, and then I think just kind of tactically thinking about cloud detection and response. One of the things that that I think was really important for us was understanding how we viewed sort of that detection and response ecosystem, right? And we had, I think every organization had some decisions to make around detection engineering in terms of how you approach it, right? Do we want to try to be the source of truth or the source of knowledge for all of the cloud threats that exist across the world, right? Do we have the capacity and the ability to know what those threats are and how they're evolving, kind of in general terms? And for us, when we look at it, the way that we operate is, for those kind of broader based, more general type of use cases, right? We look for partners that have that access and that footprint across the entire cloud across the world, right? We see what we see, but obviously partners like Wiz see much more. And I think for us, the benefit and kind of part of that calculus is it allows us to then be hyper-focused on what is specific to Redis, what is specific to our business, to our environments, to our teams, to the way that we operate. And so we're not spending a lot of time trying to get that that foundational broad coverage. We know that Wiz Defend and partnership there has that covered for us and allows us to really hone in on the things that are unique to us that aren't going to affect any other customers or many other customers. And I think just kind of understanding what that mix is, what that approach is, helps, and it helps inform some of those decisions you might make around teams and process and capabilities as well.
Cool. And now I want to wrap up with a quick lightning round of kind of very, very short answer for one question, which is in one word. What is the most underestimated risk that we need to watch for generally in the SOC, but in general as an organization?
Yes. No. One word can be hyphenated. Living off the land. We've learned that even with the detections and right tools in place, it's still hard to catch living off the land. So that is, it's something that a lot of teams need to really look at, and we're getting the right things